Well, we can start with looking at the Bonninghausen repertories in RadarOpus. That's a good place to start. There's um there's more than one. So you can type the name, well, or the start of the name. So you click on the repertory icon, and in the filter box, type BO, and you can see all the different Bonninghausen. So, right, there's Bonninghausen himself, who we have the therapeutic pocketbook in a few different forms, and then there's the Boger Bonninghausen repertories. So there's the synoptic key and the BBCR, the Boger Bonninghausen characteristics repertory as well. Um, and then there are his concordances, which are, if you don't understand them, they're a bit opaque, what it means, but they're quite useful if you're looking at a remedy, say when you're looking at the keynotes of a remedy and you can see which remedies are concordant with another. So it means concordant means in harmony with in some way, right? So it's a bit like related remedies, but from Bonninghausen. And that was originally part of his therapeutic pocketbook. So so this was our original translation that Peter Vint, I believe it was, worked on. And this is the sort of most inexpensive option for adding a Bonninghausen repertory to your system. And it includes what we call polar symptom analysis, because we also have another version, which is Heiner Fry's kind of authored version, which is called polarity analysis. And they both do the same thing, but the rendering of the results is different. And essentially, I tend to use the Heiner Fry version. Hi, Carol. Um, which is here. They by the way that they're structured and the way that they look is almost identical, but the way the analysis shows you the polarity detection is much easier to use with the Heine Fry module. Okay, so I'm going to show you that one because that's the one I know the best. Um, so you can see the layout is very simple compared to a massive Kentian repertory. The mind section is teeny tiny and organized into these sections. Okay, and you can see in Heine Fry's version, there's a P next to the polar symptoms, and that's a little indication that it's a polarity symptom. And then you can see the yin yang and the opposite symptom are listed in the repertory as well. So cheerfulness, the polarity is sadness, right? Super simple so far. One nice thing you can do, therefore, is search for P in that document, and then you get a list of all the polar symptoms, right? So then all you have to do is P ag open air, and that gives you your symptom. Let's just zoom in a little bit here. A bit more, a bit more. There. Okay. And there are shortcuts in RadarOpus. If you do the symbol like that on your keyboard, it turns it into an ag. And if you do the other one, it turns it into an ML. You probably didn't know that, but that's a nice shortcut that you can use in the search window. So if you're going at speed, and the Heinefry polarity analysis methodology you can read about from his website, and you can obtain a questionnaire, a checklist to send to patients, and they can fill it out themselves with a bit of guidance. So you get, without having to spend time, you can send somebody in an acute the checklist and get back their modalities and build a very trustworthy, reliable analysis from this checklist, as long as they're able to observe themselves well. So essentially, you take that into your clipboard, and when you do a polarity analysis, you have to put everything in clipboard one because the software uses clipboard two to show the polar symptoms. the ones that the patient doesn't have, and those are used as contraindications. Okay. So then what I normally do is add a second search window, and I do this as my ML. So I have my AGs and my MLs on a search tab each, essentially. So this could be ML from rubbing. Like if it's a muscular complaint and they're better for massage, then this would be the symptom. So you can easily go between the two search tabs, right? So if you're going back to doing an aggravation, you can just keep that there. So you know you're going to get a polar symptom. You know it's going to be an aggravation. And you can put in that they're worse from concentration. Now, if you don't know the rubrics particularly well, you can use the asterisk. So so this is for someone who's worse for looking at a computer screen or a book or a phone. This would be the rubric. And the nice thing about this repertory is that if you don't know the symptoms themselves, you just search for P. And when you have some time, it's only 333 symptoms to become acquainted with, which in the grand scheme of things in homeopathy, that's a pretty small number. Okay. So we've got worse for motion. And maybe Amal for eating. Okay, now when I click on the clipboard, if the polarity analysis doesn't load by default, and this is where if you use different colors, this can get a little bit confusing. So if you just have the standard color palette, that's a good thing for now. If it doesn't load, you click on the yin yang symbol and it adjusts several things that it needs to do, and then it should load like this. Okay. Now, what we're looking for is a contraindication. So crocus sativa is contraindicated because this symptom doesn't belong to the patient. All of these polar symptoms don't belong to the patient. So if there's anything that's a grade 3 or a grade 4, that means it's a keynote of the remedy. And if it's not there in the patient, but it's a keynote in the remedy, that should cast an element of doubt in your mind over the how useful that remedy is going to be. So what I do to put this highlighter on is hold down Control on PC or Command on Mac and then click on the remedy. So it looks currently like you've got a Logan theme, doesn't it? Spigelia, Ignatia, Nux Vomica, which is interesting. And so if I continue to add, then I'm going to see more and more contraindications. And it helps greatly with seeing which polycrests do not suit the case, this method. So even if you do a normal analysis, if you're still in doubt and you have good modalities, you can use it to help rule out the polycrests. So let's see what happens if we add some more. My mind's kind of blank now, but let's see. From lying. Amel, let's try this. If they're worse from motion, maybe they're better at rest. So let's have a look at that. No, so we'll use lying.
What this is good for is someone comes with physical pathology, and if we take all the clams, our good friend, and then we are sure that after the end of the consultation, we'll at least be able to give them a remedy that will be helpful using this method.
Hmm. Okay. Some of them are very small, so they won't be that useful if they're small. You want to choose in general the like biggest rubric because they're all quite small anyway. The biggest rubric in this repertory is 128 remedies. So Mel, let's see. What else do we have here?
For
And
people
how
who
many
might be,
remedies? Sorry.
if for people who are interested, On the website of Heinefry, there's a questionnaire you can give to your patient, and you get exactly the right information from your
Mm,
patient to use in this repertory and in the polarity analysis. It's very convenient.
correct. Yeah. So we start to see some more contraindications coming through here. Belladonna rises up the ranking. And then the process, once you've built your polarity analysis, is all about checking the materia medica. And if you've read Heinefry's book, his Bible is Herring's Guiding Symptoms, which I have to agree is an incredible Bible. Um, so you go and check, you go and look for the other symptoms of the case that you haven't repertorized and find them, whether they're in the materia medica picture. So the key aspect of this is that you don't have to repertorize everything, but you are repertorizing very valuable symptoms, modalities, and they're also vital symptoms because a modality shows where the organism is in flux or in a state of change. So you're taking reliable symptoms that are high quality, they're vital, and therefore that's a good analysis strategy, right? And then you can check out the rest of the picture later. The only problem is that you've only got 128 remedies. So if someone doesn't fit into the remedies of those times, then I mean, look, you don't have to get the exact, you have to get the similar. So the likelihood is that there's a good remedy in that crop for most people, yeah, and most complaints, as long as things haven't got too um convoluted and complicated. But
Especially if someone comes for an acute, or is there a physical pathology there? Like they are, everything is focused around that physical complaint, and then we can just work with this, get that better, and then work through the case.
yeah, perfect. And you can see there's actually you can look at the coverage of the remedy as well. So the sum of symptoms up here is 7, 7, 6, 7. So some of them, Heine Fry looks at the totality remedies first. Our module sorts on the polarity difference. So Rheum has a higher polarity difference, but Ignatia has a better totality. So
Mm.
you can look at it that way as well. So actually, looking at the totality, no contraindications. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 remedies to look at for this fictitious acute. So yeah, it's a super powerful, simple, reliable tool. So that is Bonninghausen Heine Fry method.
Then there are a few other that you have shown us in the beginning, the other modules in RadarOpus, like for the Dimitriades
Yeah. Yeah, so
and
Dimitriadis is um a different kettle of fish. It's the same repertory, but it's been organized so that it's much easier to find things, and the language used is much more accessible for like our modern terminology. But there's no polarity analysis built into it. But if you were going to do, as Nyla said, like a clams repertorization where you're putting in like the regions, the locations, concomitant sensations, it's actually easier to find in this repertory. So you've got a lovely organization here where he's looked at the systemic parts of the organism and organized them in a much nicer way than the original pocketbook. Okay. So if you are not just doing modalities, but you're building a building block type repertorization, and you want very simple, reliable Bonninghausen era remedies, then this is great. So you could say it's a case where there's palpitation, case where there's um, problem with the libido or genitalia, or and there's a problem with cough. There's a headache. In the occiput. Where are the sensations and head? External question. Systemic. No. Generals. There's the sensations in generals. So it's a pressing type pain that goes inwards or as of a weight. Try that. And we won't worry about mind. Then you have got modalities in here too. So change of weather, that's going to be a bit small. Let's see. Oh, a moon phase. Very good. Even smaller. Highly specific. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So that's you build a very classic building block repertorization. I'll just change this to sorted degree. And you can see just like a really coherent repertorization. Yeah. And like the way that the degrees tell a story is very handy in this repertory. Like he would say, pulsatilla. I mean, I've read a little bit of Demetrius, not very much, but he would say like pulsatilla because there's that degree one in there. It kind of detracts from the coherence of the overall. Probably natrum carb is more coherent as a pattern based on the degree. And so maybe that's the first remedy you check the materia medica of. But again,
Fantastic.
like you cut through the noise of a modern repertory with this, and we have other approaches for analyzing cases. But if a case is complicated and the person doesn't have clear symptoms, right, and they're there more for coaching, or it's a one-sided mental emotional problem, or something like that. You're never going to use this repertory, right? You might, in those cases, sometimes you use a keyword search instead because you've got themes but no symptoms. So, but you're a homeopath, so you're still going to prescribe a remedy, right? So it's
I'm
one of
thinking
these. Yeah, go on.
more of if it is a pediatric case, kids we can generally see, okay, this is making them feel better, this is making them feel worse, this is what they want, this is what they want, and the only thing they don't talk about is emotions and mind
Yeah.
in these early years. So this can be very helpful in those cases. Just sometimes
Mm,
going back to basics, and those are the clear pictures as well. Like
mm,
kids we see, we generally prescribe more of the polycrest to the children, to our pediatric group. We can maybe going back and looking at our own cases that have good result and seeing how, okay, which were the modalities. Let's try and use one of these repertories and learn from them,
mm,
learn our remedies from them as well. Sometimes we are really surprised about the polycrest, that the common um, picture that is in our mind is sometimes very different as well in uh, ASD cases, for example. Kids with as we are seeing nowadays, the neurodiversity is on the rise, and we have to scratch our minds, scratch our brains to find that simillimum.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. There's when you're looking at you could say more basic level of information where the region that's involved and the modalities, that's exactly when we're going to use Bonninghausen's methodology. Um, yeah, and the other thing I can say about Dimitriadis is that he's very scholarly and he's included, there's a lot of these symptom notes which include explanations of what he's done, where he has made changes. So you can see a lot of detail. That's why this is quite an expensive repertory. because there's a lot of detail, and it comes with a book as well. And when it was released, we built this simple map that allows you to open all the sections in one click. So that will open the book, the Materia Medica, and the repertory and the concordance repertory as well, which he's separated out. So you can read about his methodology here, and there's some nice cases in here as well. So it's a kind of complete package, really, if you like, from Dimitriadis. So you can learn a lot from it. Um, he likes to bash every other method, so you have to forgive him for that, and take what you can from him because he does know his stuff in this domain. But yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah,
right.
okay,
Thank you for explaining this, Luke. It's very, very helpful. And as it's his birthday, his anniversary, so it's nice to go back to basics, learn the modules, whatever we have, and become experts in.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
So
would like you, sorry,
keep going. I'll show you while you're talking the other repertories that we have.
I wanted you
From
to share yours because you are also
Yeah,
creating something based on this model, which is
yes,
quite interesting, and I think would be something that will be very, very, very valuable for future.
yeah, yeah. I certainly hope so. So,
Mm.
I took the synoptic key and all of the chapters that are there as a kind of template for building a repertory that kind of follows the Bonninghausen approach in that it's has a lot of building blocks in it. So for each one of these, rather than having symptoms, I just turned them into the generalized, or I only kept the generalized rubric for each one, but I expanded them by going through all of the different repertories and combining so that they become much bigger building blocks, and they also include um, modern additions to the Materia Medica. So I called it Synoptic Guide as a nod to the original synoptic key. And the synoptic means that you should be able to take in all of the information with one sort of sweep of the eye. So the intention of this repertory is to again filter out the noise of a big expanded Kentian repertory where you kind of you have the potential of drilling down to the very specific characteristic rubric, which can be wonderful, but in many cases can be quite deceiving because um, the rubrics are often incomplete, right?
Mm.
And if you take a bigger rubric, there's more chance that the right remedy is in there than if
In there.
it's a small rubric, right? So
Mm.
this is the affinity section contains these big building blocks based on the synoptic key. So you can say this is a case of heartburn, which has they have a lower backache as well and a problem with menstruation. Okay, so a three-legged stool from the affinity section. The befulement chapter is basically taken from the ailments from section and expanded again, and a lot of additions from the different source texts that we have. So you could say there's ailments from disappointment or a befulement, to use the word from the organon. The modality section is lifted from the pocketbook,
Mm.
but it's I reorganized it alphabetically, which helps. And I also expanded. At the moment, I've expanded mostly the aggravations because they're sort of more important to work on first. It's a big job, so I need to carry on working on the ameliorations, but that will be version 2. So you could say they're worse from bathing, classic sulfur, and there's another section called pain, which is looking at again in Boney style, just generalizing the pain. So you don't have to say you're decoupling it from the region and you're specifying the region as a different building block. So let's say there's neuralgic bursting type pains. And again, what you see is a repertorization similar to the Dimitriadis, where you're looking at the coherence between the coverage and the degrees as a guide. And what's nice about this repertory is you're going to see your well-known remedies first. But if you change the strategy to small remedies, you're going to see things that you wouldn't normally see as well coming through.
Wonderful.
And
I
as you
just
go down the list, especially if you add, I haven't added any mentals there. The other thing to say about it is that it contains an update of my thematic repertory at the start, which if you put in any like mental emotional themes, you're going to get the more modern remedies because they don't have such good physical coverage, but they have very good emotional coverage. So with those in there, you should start to see like elapse, laccaninum coming through with the small remedies, and gallium aperine, which is goosegrass, and there's a couple of modern provings of that. And then if we turn it back to some of sorted degrees, you're going to see again eupolycrests, and now a distinct totality there. So it's vastly more simple than using a big repertory, and it invites you to use the Bonninghausen approach of building blocks, but it doesn't dumb down the data. It includes a lot of modern additions to repertories. And it kind of gives parity to smaller remedies, lesser known remedies alongside polycrests, which I think is important because if you are only going to prescribe a polycrest and you sort of know what it is, what's the point repertorizing anyway? When you repertorize, you want to see the things that you hadn't thought of as well, don't you? Or I do. So that will be coming out soon, available.
if you can search a remedy in your synoptic guide, even gallium aperine, I was looking at,
Oh yeah. Cool.
and we can share like just how I learn the remedies, or if you want to look at a remedy in a glance, like what are the themes, what are the affinities. It's a very good way to just quickly see, okay, this remedy, these are the themes, these are the affinities,
Yeah. Yeah.
problems. Yeah,
Good point. Yeah. So you can see a lot of themes because it was a good proving and it was repertorized properly. Um, and then if we go down, we've got, so this is great because with modern remedies, we never know what the affinities are. And these are hints because they're grade 1, right? So they came through in the proving. It's not saying, apart from skin and sexual impulse, it's not saying that anything is like nailed on clinical verification, but that it came up in the proving. Even seeing the modalities at a glance is very helpful.
very helpful.
And then the types of pain as well.
Like this helps us like just to see, okay, these are the basic or more important symptoms of the remedy, or this is like a sketch of the remedy.
Mm,
And does it
yeah.
match my case or does it not match my case?
Yeah. More of a sketch than a portrait, but
Yeah.
it's something towards that, isn't it?
Mm.
So if we put in the grade 2 symptoms, we can then do a differential of gallium aperine with its well-known remedy counterparts.
Mm. And this is also something that I usually do, like the most important grade 2, grade 3 rubrics, put them in and see which are the remedies that are similar or cover the essence of the remedy, or are similar. Like, for example, the 120 remedy sketches are in our mind whenever we have a patient. We sometimes, oh, this patient looks like pulsatilla, or this was very calcarb like, and we might have given calcarb. So we can see which other modern remedies are covering the similar essence or the similar pattern of the remedy, and can go on to that one then to further
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if you're looking at a big remedy like pulsatilla, locking it to grade 4, because the grading in this repertory is Bonninghausen and Knur rather than Kent and synthesis. So there's a lot more grade 3 and grade 4 in this repertory. So again, like the fine tuning of the grading is a strong aspect of this repertory, and that lineage belongs to Bonninghausen, basically. Yeah. And there's so the other repertories, so you've got the original synoptic key was the other one, which is a very small repertory, um, that apart from being inspired by its arrangement, I haven't particularly used, but I think it is used in cases where people are in a bit of a hurry and you want a quick answer for the affinity, like, very very clear here. If you're looking at a problem with the anus and rectum, you've just got a very small set of remedies. So if you're working, like in the UK, we have Traveling Homeopaths Collective where you do acute cases festivals. So perfect kind of tool for that. Uh,
Mm.
if you were working in a very busy clinic with short appointments, it would become a useful shorthand. Then you've got his general analysis as well, which is a nice, simple alphabetical repertory. This is what Fatak's concise repertory was built upon, if I understand correctly. Boja was one of his
Mm.
heroes, and he's taken that and expanded it with his own clinical experience. So this is the forerunner of Fatak's concise. And lastly, you've got the BBCR, Boninghausen's Repertory by Boja. And the selling point, the unique selling point of this repertory is that it lists a lot of concomitants. So there's over 2,000 concomitants listed here. So if that is the nugget of joy that you get from the case, that um, it's a case of cough, but it has this strong concomitant in it, you search for cough with the word concomitant and you see if it's in the repertory. So the main here is say this anxiety and fear in the cough. Then there you go. That's your answer, right? You can do a kind of pinpoint approach. Of course, you can build a full repertorization as well, but my understanding of this repertory is that this is its, particular skill that it has, and that's a good way to use it. Again, it's a way of cutting through the noise of a big repertory, and I suppose we tend to get to know certain rubrics really well, don't we? And those will be the go-to rubrics that get end up on your clipboard. But using a smaller repertory can just cut through like habits that might have become stale and not serving the particular patient who's perhaps not responding.
You can always write your questions if there is anything that you're looking for, trying to search, or anything that you're looking for in your software, and you want to ask or actually Luke to help you, please put
Yeah,
it in the
we
chat.
got a quiet day today. Yeah, it's a Q&A. So if you have a question, just interrupt my Boja Bernihausen festival with anything you want to talk about.
It's always nice to learn all these things because for the past 2 weeks I've been reading more about Bönninghausen and his approach and what happened, the correspondence between him and Hahnemann, and so fascinating how dedicated these people were, how they were communicating. Like in today's modern world, we're just a WhatsApp message away, and they kept in contact with those letters and trying to talk, reach. Okay, what do you think about this? Do you think I have done a good job? And then he was a lawyer turned a physician. So fascinating how I feel
Mm.
like we don't have that much time as they had.
No, because we have too many things like emails and WhatsApp that speeds up your appreciation of time.
Yeah, it does.
I've said to Nyla many times that if you want to get less emails, take longer to reply, and then you
Mm.
slow down the pace of the emailing. But if you fall into the trap of thinking, "Oh, I'll answer that quickly," and then it will be gone, then you speed up the pace, and then you get more emails.
Absolutely. That helped me a lot. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, we have to sort out. Okay, this needs, this is important.
Yeah,
This is, can wait. And this, yeah, I'll look into it later.
yeah. People, we can wait.
Yeah.
It is allowed, and yeah.
It's
Sometimes
just,
you do need to take time to digest.
mm,
Messaging and emailing is digestion as well, isn't it? Digestion of information at the mental level. If you try and do it all at once, it's like fast food. You end up with a headache.
yeah, I was just thinking about Naxvomica.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not in the shop. Does that you definitely haven't bought it already? Because
Maybe.
if you've bought something already, then it's not in the shop. So you can click on repertories and type the name Fry to check. You might have it already. Generally, yeah, if you type the author name, there you go. That must be because I have it already. Hopefully, but maybe there is an issue there. Curious. No, maybe there is an issue. There has been an update to the CRM. It looks very nice now, but maybe there's some stuff missing, huh? Okay, we
Hi,
will.
sorry. Look, can you hear me?
Yes,
Uh, yeah, I haven't used it for a while, but I did think that I had bought it, but I don't have it anymore for some reason.
yeah.
And also, when I go into under my own, login into the shop, it lists books that I have anyway and modules that I have bought. So
Mm. Yeah, so it's not that. Yeah.
the
Okay.
whole thing doesn't make sense with me for me at
No,
the moment.
no, yeah, having the online shop be defined by your like login and license
Yeah.
is good, but it's problematic as well.
Okay.
And you've been a customer for a really long time, so various things
Anyway,
have changed over generations, and that gets so there's for like someone who was started being a customer yesterday, it all kind of works a bit better. But
oh, okay.
yeah, it's
All right. Thanks. You're being nice to me. It's just that I'm not very technical either, so I may be missing
no,
something. And do you
no.
think it's possible that I would have lost it in one of the various reset that I've done with that I could have lost it because or
Well, no, you shouldn't have, but we
no.
have to look into it with the tech people and get it back for you.
Okay.
I'm
I
sure we
will
can.
contact them then.
You contact them. I'll let them know that it came up today. That's,
Okay.
yeah.
And yeah, and it doesn't seem to be available in the shop for me, but it should be in the shop from what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Luke.
That's okay. So Amar Wahid Khalid, superclasses is
Yes.
yeah, it's Rajan's work, and Rajan doesn't collaborate with us, unfortunately, anymore. He owns another software, so that it makes complete sense that he puts his work into his software and into the books. Um, but the superclasses are built on the plant subclasses. So for that, you've got Yakir's botanical repertory. So that certainly has the plants as subclasses. So you can buy that book. Then it has flowering plants, columns, and then the 6 columns organized with all the remedies in. So you can say if you're using superclasses and you want plants, then this is the thing that you want. The other thing you can do if you're using superclasses in RadarOpus is to build your own personal repertory, and you could essentially start to create your own simplified superclass table, because RadarOpus contains not only remedies but families, and you can make additions of any family to any rubric. Okay, so if you build your own repertory that says superclass 1 to 6, then you just put in the families rather than exhaustively list all remedies. Then you've got a quick visual reference, and it wouldn't take very long because this is like broad brushstrokes information with the superclasses. You just have to put in column 1 plants, whatever the animals are
Could you
that are
just zoom in? Sorry, can you just zoom in a bit
to the
to the
I
left
can't
side?
I can't zoom into
Oh,
that
okay.
because it's just a table.
Can
But
you increase the width
I
in
can
that
increase the
one?
width. There you go.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So these are all the families we have currently. So they all have an asterisk at the end, right? So if you wanted to search for mollusk, it's there. It tends to be Latin, or not in every case. Milks is one of the ones that's not in Latin for some reason. But like if you want snakes, it's Ophidia. But the common name is included there as well. So even if I type
So
snake,
sorry, how do I create the repertoire?
how do you create the repertory? Is like first you have to have bought the create and analyze bundle from the shop.
Okay.
Okay, you have to have the pretty much the latest version, and you have to buy this, and then you go to file, create a new repertory.
Mhm.
Ta-da! Um, Chapter name, I'll call it my repertory. You can add it to your favorites, assuming you will want to do that. Okay, so this is the first symptom, which I'm going to overwrite now. So you go to the additions menu, and I'm going to modify the current symptom and call it super classes. Okay, continue. All right. So now I need to add another symptom. So go back up here, add a symptom. I'll just put 1 for now. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with a long, you know, so when I put this into a clipboard, it's going to say my repertory superclasses 1. Okay. So then I'll do again. So it's Control F10 is the shortcut. Now, what you can see here is that if I carry on blindly, it's going to create a sub rubric underneath 1. So I need to do it at the same level and call it 2. Checked. Okay. This one will be 3. Now I can go a bit faster. 4. So you learn the shortcuts, so you can go quickly. 6. All right. So then I'd add a remedy, which is Control F8, or you grab it from up here. And I could call it column 1, which is taken from Yakir. And I'll give it my author reference. And then I have column 1. If I wanted to, I could add Magnolidae as the actual name of the subclass, Magnolidae. You can change the degree if you prefer to see it in bold. It's up to you. It's your repertory. You can put in, I don't know what, off the top of my head, what the animals are or the neurotransmitters, but this is the idea. And you put in
Got
the
it. Thank
status
you.
of
Yeah.
the periodic table. And for some of them, if you hover, you'll get a list of remedies too. So they should be basically the same, these two. That means that when you use this tool, unless you add every single remedy one by one, you won't be able to like filter your analysis with it, but it will be a quick visual reference tool. So you could build an analysis, then go to your repertory and say, oh, okay, I'm gonna link filter to the Magnolidae, and then you go back to your repertory, you click on families, you type Magnolidae, you right click on it, and then you limit. And that should now give me the Magnolidae subclass.
Super.
There we go.
Is this being recorded?
I think it's
Yeah,
being
sure.
recorded. Normally it is.
Thank
It
you.
is.
I think I'll benefit from it later. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank
Carol's
you.
asking about Anna's Family Finder. So the Family Finder is a wonderful tool for working with a keyword approach. So information is organized. The top level is what is the experience of the patient. Then there's a theme, and then there's the context, so like how they express themselves. So, and I worked organizing her database with her, and so I sort of know the language she's using. It's very simple language. So you should also use very simple language when you use this tool. So say the context of the consultation, the way that they express their problem is that they always refer back to themselves, like it's a me problem. If that's the case, you just type the word me and have a look. And it shows you all of the times where just the word me is mentioned. So you could see like generally like in the 2D world, which is the mineral world, it's a me problem, right? It comes down to me, my existence, and my role and my function. Then you could say like, what is the expression or theme? The theme is money. What is the experience? That they're left alone to deal with the problem, for example. And this is a technique where you're going to see stuff that you wouldn't see anywhere else, right? So it's really about an out of the box approach rather than being linked to another method like superclasses. So it's taking you to celestial bodies, which is like planetary rays, essentially, which is very interesting. Not something you would normally find in a repertory or even think of. So you have to say thank you for that hint. Maybe I'll look at that. And over here at the navigate section, you can see the family members. So you could say like Sol Britannica, and Sol is a remedy that's known pretty well. And also Luna. And then Anna has used some other planetary ray remedies as well. When you click on the map, this gives you the kind of superclass idea. For anything you click on here, it's mapped to a particular level of the periodic table. So she's saying that answer, which is a bird, is similar to row 5, which is about creativity, which makes sense because birds reproduce or they choose a mate based on creativity, right? Can you build the nicest nest? What's your singing like rather than fighting per se? So out of all the animals, the birds are surely the most creative, in my opinion. So I think her work holds together really, really well. And if you've got some strong keywords and you have this module, then it doesn't take much to put in a few simple words and see what it says. And over here, you can open her PDF, which is pretty nice in itself. And this gives you the second and third dimension as a nice binary split. So you don't have to think plant, mineral, animal straight away. You can think, is it two-dimensional or three-dimensional? And in a way that's simpler. It makes, similar to what Rajan's doing with superclasses. He's saying you can think which superclass rather than which kingdom. I think is a good way to go.
Or what periodic table, which row?
Which row?
Yeah,
Yeah, which row? So the row doesn't just include the minerals; it includes other
yeah.
things. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
basically, it's the same how you come to the remedy, how evolved they are, where they're standing superclasses, even the Yakir's king table. We just need to know the ballpark. Okay, our remedy is here, and then we can do the research. And I have seen now, if we get to the closest remedy, we do see changes. And so, how beautifully that will lead us to the actual remedy is also very beautiful. We don't have to, we can try, but we don't have to go with the right remedy in the first prescription. Whatever is revealing itself, we need to just go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. The law of similars, not the law of exacts.
Yeah.
And it's also not the law of the simillimum, if you ask me. There's a group of similars, and I think that's a more friendly more friendly job to give ourselves than you have to go on this holy quest for the one true simillimum that rules them all, you know?
Absolutely.
So
It's like most of the homeopaths, we dwell on it. Oh, why didn't I see that first? But that was not showing itself first. Otherwise, we would have seen.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So when in this module, if you see something in bold like that, it means that it's part of the highest level, the experience. So the experience of row three is mama and me and the family, right? So if that aspect of like me, my identity is really strong, we've got, well, actually, this is a theme of the wheat family, Comelinales. So it's wheat, but also bamboo, and if you looking at the larger order, so yeah, Lilidae also has this, it's mama and me in the world. So the way that this database works is it's intentionally very simple and stripped back because that removes loads of noise. If she were to have put a lot more language in here, you introduce loads of noise as well. And that means you would find just loads more stuff, and that's not what she wanted. So you can't expect the tool to give you a big overall like portrait of the family or remedy. That's not its job. Its job is to find it and then you go research it and see how well it can fit.
If we can make our case compact, like if we can describe the patient in a few words, that is the time where we can say, now I can find the remedy which will do the most for this patient and it's going to work longer. Because sometimes there is, just like the repertory, there's so much noise in patients' life that we don't, and they themselves don't see where their core was because of so much has happened. You are born and like I was thinking about a particular case, there's so much happened in their life that they themselves don't know who they were from a very young age to now. And with the remedy that they were given, they said, I can actually now think and connect and actually feel who I am. And then they've started communicating this. And we've started seeing, and they've started seeing, okay, this resonates with me. Like even the simple thing, like I feel trapped and I want to be free. They couldn't communicate that.
Mm. Mm. So it would be tempting to say the case is about identity, but
Mm.
if you put in identity into this, it won't be as good. You should put who into this
Mm.
module. Who am I? Right?
Ah.
Because you have to be simple,
Mm.
not clever.
Mm. Oh, so good because I've worked with this now for past a few weeks, and it's so fascinating. Just thinking, like everything is put aside, and just the core, just the basics of okay, this remedy is this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jeremy Sher does the same, doesn't he? He understands the case in terms of what is the main verb, the doing aspect of the case, and what
Mm.
is the main verb of the remedy. And
Mm.
it's a beautiful distillation that only he really does. But if you understand, as long as you understand the cases and the remedy in the same way, you can simplify things a lot by doing that.
Mm. Mm.
Thanks for asking questions, Anna. I appreciate it. Um, so it's a big question. And it's kind of open to the floor, really. How do you improve results for pain management? I think it depends on so many things. Do you have a particular example in mind?
Just for example, cervical pain. I mean, just struggling with trying to get the right remedy and just going from one remedy to another remedy.
Mm,
And I just don't understand how does one improve the results. And pain is such a thing that it needs to be sort of resolved. Otherwise,
mm.
patients will just end up taking painkillers.
I think
I haven't
I
figured that
think
out.
I think Atik would like to chip in at this point. I have a feeling.
Okay, that's a really good feeling. I didn't get it though. I didn't get the feeling, but hey, I'm here. So what am I talking about?
Pain
What would
management.
be your approach for someone who wants to cut down pain medication, and it seems like every remedy's, you're changing remedies frequently, and it's hard to find the one that helps patient. In a way, it's like toning down the response to pain, isn't it? It's a nervous
Hmm.
system issue. But
If we take it at the first level, which is purely therapeutic, let's say, we know, for example, I don't know, Rustox and arnica, muscle aches, pains, tearing sensations, etc. There are some very nice combinations that one can put together to treat pain therapeutically. The problem is if you have sciatica, it's not the sciatica which is the problem, of course. It's actually the disc protrusion or the constriction or that concertina effect on that lumbar region, which needs to be dealt with. So there's no easy fix for pain. But if it's something that's niggling, for example, if you've been overstretching yourself, we know Rustox is fantastic for that. If you find that there's pain associated with your ligaments and tendons, we know calcareous floor works a treat, so does Bellis. But it has to be treated in sometimes, dare I say it, I know with classical homeopathy, but sometimes in a multi-layered approach as well. So you can treat, I call it a two-pronged approach. So you can treat the deeper layer, the causa causalis as such, but then you can treat acute as well with the combination, which would work quite well, I think. It it's not an easy question to answer because there's so many variables, right? With pain,
yeah,
like
yeah,
Luke mentioned, there's so many different variables.
yeah. But
And
yeah, a low potency combination remedy is not
Yeah.
out of the question if you just keep changing remedy and nothing works.
Mm.
Yeah.
Good
there's
consistency is key.
there's so many low potency remedies in German pharmacies, homeopathic remedies. They are X potencies, and I the name has slipped my mind, but they're calling it something else than homeopathy.
Heal.
Heal.
Yeah, but there is a word they are using. It's not coming to my mind. But it's like low potency nanomedicine that is going to help with pain management, with this management, this management. These are like X potencies, and people who are using them are the people who are going to use homeopathy classically as well, because they like as in tissue salts, they believe that the X potencies, they are not going to go to that constitutional level or that chronic
Yeah.
level, and will just stay with that pain level as such.
Yeah.
Cervical pain,
Yeah.
Atik, I know that you talk about a remedy very often. Cervical pain.
Yeah, cervical pain, we know there's a remedy called Ferrum Met, and it works very well for the shoulder girdle itself, but it works really, really well for cervical region as well. I just learned that through practice, not through text as such, you know. Lachnanthus is a fantastic remedy for any problem with the neck associated with the cervical area. So it could be a crick or a nip in the neck. You've slept funny. It just works so brilliantly. But if I may, just to end on that, can I just say that we've all seen as homeopaths that sometimes we take medications, conventional medicines, and because of the overload on the system, that can also be, the inception point for pain itself. So that needs to be looked at as well, and how you would detox that as well.
Mm. The other thing that came to my mind was that you could do a polarity analysis if you have modalities and see what comes through there. And it also may help with the contraindications, rule out some, sometimes you think, oh, it's got to be Rus tox, and then you look at the modalities with polarity analysis, and it actually rules it out because it has very specific modalities, like, worse on first movement and then better for movement. And it could be that the person is much worse from movement generally, and then it's much more like bryonia. And you know, but I think, yeah, for something that's chronic pain management and the nervous system is therefore heightened, you probably want to use a very low potency strategy and, look into Burnett's, his prescribing style, and also Burricky. If you read Burrick's pocket manual, the recommended potency is often 3C, 3 to 9C, right? So we get stuck on the Kentian potencies, but actually many homeopaths, Clark, Burrick, Burnett, are all low potency prescribers.
And
Thank you
also
for
look
this.
if they are just not sitting on the screen and not doing those exercises, because you can give X number of remedies, but if the exercise is not there and they're not doing the daily activities, nothing is going to help maintaining cause.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful, lovely. Thank you, Luke, for enlightening us, making us more clever about how to use Bönninghausen in our daily practice. And if anyone wants to, and if you don't have it already, I think Bönninghausen's modules everyone should have. If you don't have it already, you have the full month of March to get 20% off on those modules. And if you have any questions, we are here. We would love to help you. You can also email the team, and yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Lila.
Doing the advertisement? No, I didn't.
And thank you, Teek, and thank you, Emma, for your questions, and Veronique, and thank you, Sarah, for keeping us organized. It's not easy organizing homeopaths, to be fair.
Oh, seriously, she does a wonderful job there.
I will write a book after 20 years. Okay. My life with the homeopaths.
How to organize homeopaths.
Don't write it.
No, I will not. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a nice
you.
day.
Thanks a million.
Thanks a lot.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye.